My favourite ice cream by far is a golden Gaytime. And when I told my dear friend Morgan that that's my favourite ice cream, he thought, why not make a delicious golden Gaytime cake?
That's it. I agree. Like golden Gaytime is one of those things that you just grow up eating, and I'm all about that nostalgia from your childhood and absolutely recreating it to make something amazing. So this cake absolutely does that.
So what have you got there?
So we've got our caramel that we're going to add our cream to.
Yep. So just some thickened cream.
Exactly. So this caramel's actually going to go into our cake.
Yep.
So it's important that we make it ahead of time so it can actually cool down.
Sure. Oh, that smells good. I love the smell of sugar that's been melted with butter and cream.
Now, while I'm doing this, do you want to start making the frosting for the cake?
Yes, sure can.
So frosting's actually going to be divided down into 3 different flavours. So we're going to have our vanilla style, then our caramel, and then also our chocolate.
So this is going to be layers of cake and different frostings, all with those classic flavours of a Gaytime.
Exactly. So obviously when you think of a Gaytime, you've got like your typical malt flavouring, which again comes from that chocolate malt crumb that we're going to make.
Yep.
Then we've got our honeycomb flavouring, and then our different flavours of frosting. So you've got chocolate, caramel, and vanilla.
Oh, you know the way to my heart. So a little bit of cream cheese, and we've just softened these slightly.
Exactly. Just makes everything luscious together.
And what have we got here?
So we've got our glucose. So glucose actually just helps to make that icing really shiny and just pop.
Okay, in it goes. All right, so I'll give this a good whisk until it's light and fluffy.
Exactly right.
Okay. Ooh, fluffy frosting.
That looks perfect to me. If you want to divide it into 3 bowls so we can make it into our different flavours later.
Sure can. And how's your caramel going over there?
It looks perfect. So now we're going to actually pour this into a bowl, add some of our smoky sea salt, and just look at that luscious caramel. It's so smooth and silky, it's perfect. So we'll add a pinch of our smoky sea salt.
Yummo. All right, I'm going to separate these. We'll pop them in the fridge for later. We'll wait for that to cool, and then we can get onto the cake.
Sounds like a plan.
Great.
So our salted caramel is cool enough to make our cake. Now, Justine, if I'm going to get you to start our cake mix, so basically you need to cream together the butter and the sugars.
Okay.
Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to crack our eggs so we can add them in.
Okay, so we've got brown sugar, caster sugar, and butter that's been softened.
Exactly right.
There it goes. And we'll cream that.
All right, Justine, I'm going to get you to add the eggs one at a time now that the butter's all creamed together.
Okay, and we should touch on how important it is to ensure the caramel is cool before we add it to the cake mix. Why is that?
100%. If the caramel's added whilst it's hot, it'll actually cook the eggs and curdle them, and you'll end up with like this scrambled egg cake batter, which just isn't nice.
Yeah.
So make sure it's cool before you add it. So it's looking really good. Now we need to add our buttermilk and grapeseed oil. We need to do these whilst it's mixing.
Together?
Together. It's really important because what you're basically doing is adding a lot more fat into a mixture that already has fat.
Done. Liquid's in. I like
Now, final touch is all we're going to add is our flour, baking powder, and our salted caramel. We want to add the whole thing, but save about 2 tablespoons to add into our frosting. Do you want to do the honours?
Yes, please. Say when.
That's good to me.
And we'll just slowly incorporate that.
That's exactly right. You don't want to overmix it because the flour has the gluten. So it's really, really important not to overmix it because if you do, you'll end up with a tough and dry cake.
All right, that is looking good.
Looks great to me. Right now we're going to scrape the edges, make sure it's all nice and incorporated. And tip it in.
There we go.
Oh, look at that.
Looks so good. And how long is this cooking for?
So it only cooks for about 20 to 30 minutes because it's so thin. Keep an eye on it. As soon as it becomes that nice golden brown, you want to take it straight out.
Sure. And what temperature is the oven?
180.
Nice one.
So our cake is cooled and we've tipped it out, flipped it onto the tray and it's ready to cut. We're going to use our acetate mould to cut some rounds. Now we're going to get 2 rounds out of it, 1 here, 1 there, and the remainder is going to actually be the bottom base.
Right.
So we'll start cutting around. And now while I'm doing that, do you want to start making the different flavours of buttercream? Now if you can't find a piece of acetate like this, you can just use a springform loaded cake tin. The good thing about this is as soon as you let that buttercream set in the fridge overnight, you can peel this off without actually having much effect on the buttercream.
And that's why you're the pastry chef and not me. So in here, I've just added that gorgeous butterscotch, if you like,
Yes.
and then the buttercream, and we'll just give that a good mix. Yummo. And then we've got some other flavourings here.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, it's all based on the golden Gaytime. Some chocolate, so just cacao powder.
Yeah, exactly right. So put that in.
The whole
and that,
lot?
Yep. That will create a really, really nice layer for our cake, which adds that chocolate component, but also not being too overpowering.
Okay, and the last one is vanilla.
Vanilla.
Okay.
Classic.
Great. How are you going over there with the
Going
cake?
well. I am nearly ready to assemble. As soon as you got those buttercreams ready for me, it's all actions ahead.
Yes, chef, but speed this up. Okay, so chocolate's ready. And vanilla, well, that's the easy one.
Yeah,
Just a
bit of vanilla.
hint of vanilla extract. Oop, no.
Sounds good. Looks good to me.
And we'll just fold that through. Now we have a little extra butterscotch here. Is that just for me?
You wish, you wish. No, that is for our caramel soak. And so what that's gonna do is actually help to make this cake really, really moist. Obviously, it's already a really nice and moist cake, but when we're assembling it, if we mix in some milk into that remaining butterscotch sauce, it's actually gonna be brushed on top of each layer.
Wow. So we'll just mix that in.
So we're gonna grab what we want to serve the cake on, because the thing is, once this bad boy is assembled, you don't wanna have to move it, okay? I promise you. So we'll grab our cake tin, make sure to put it in the middle. We'll grab our acetate. For the bottom layer, we're actually gonna use the remainder scraps of the cake and push that down into the bottom.
It's a bit like a trifle.
It is, and the good thing about it is it means you don't have a lot of wasted cake.
Okay, good.
Now, whilst I'm doing this, Justine, if you want
Yes.
to cut up some of the honeycomb for me.
Sure.
We want this in nice, not so much powder, but just good chunks so that you can still get some texture when you bite in. So we've got our bottom layer ready with all the leftover cake, and then we're gonna layer that up with the chocolate buttercream, some of the honeycomb crumb, and then the chocolate crumb, and then we'll repeat that layer with another layer of cake, and then the salted caramel buttercream, honeycomb, chocolate crumb, and then finally the last layer of cake, vanilla buttercream, more honeycomb, and more chocolate crumb.
Did you get that? Morgan, surely we're at the final layer.
We're at the final layer, and I promise you, all this hard work will be worth it when we see the finished result. All we got left to do now is spread over this vanilla buttercream, top a little bit more crushed honeycomb, which you can do the honours for, and then I'll finish it off with some chocolate crumb, and then it needs to go into the fridge to set.
Morgan, you have outdone yourself.
Told you it was worth it.
It was worth it. It's just fantastic. I love all the layers. It's one of those things that you see and you just can't wait. You've got to try it. I can't wait to taste the textures of it, the crunch on the top. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Nice hot knife with any cake in general is a good tip, right?
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more.
You don't want to not have those defined slices when you cut into it. And precision.
Listen to the crunch and the honeycomb as you cut through.
So good.
All right, should we reveal?
Yes. Do you think this is one of the most popular cakes at Bistro Morgan?
Definitely. I feel like Gaytime is one of those flavours that everyone has a favourite for. Look at those layers.
So good. Should have got a bigger plate. It's not big enough. And the moment of truth. Let's share one. Get the topping.
So thick.
Delicious. I don't even know what else to say. It is so nice. It really reminds me of a golden Gaytime. My birthday, 29th of October. Can't wait to see you then.
I think I'll be baking this.
Thank you.
No worries.